What's up, gamers? I'm your host, Cobra, and on today's episode of the Freeroll, I'm showing you how to play Parallel TCG. This is just the basics meant for a brand new player and does not include any strategy. Let's take a look at the game board. Context: it's the start of turn 3. We're watching a Shroud deck being played against a Cathari deck. There are 5 different parallels in the game. Each parallel has 3 unique Paragons. A deck is 40 cards from your chosen parallel, plus universal cards, and your Paragon. Paragons are unique in that they are always in play on the side instead of being shuffled into the deck. They can be played on the field as if they were in your hand, but they cannot be banked for energy or otherwise discarded. Other card types are units, effects, relics, and upgrades. All cards have an energy cost in the top right. Units also have attack and health stats on the left and right of the bottom of their cards, respectively. Starting on the left side, we see each player's Paragon. Between them is where relics can be played. In the middle, starting at the top, we see how many cards our opponent is holding. Below that is our opponent's health. You start each game with 30 health, and first to reduce their opponent's health to 0 wins. The very center is the field. This is where units, upgrades, and tokens are all played. Below that is our health and our hand. On the right, at the top and bottom, is each player's energy bank. Parallel doesn't have cards specifically for energy. Instead, once per turn, any card in your hand can be banked to generate 1 additional energy. Each turn, you start with 1 energy per banked card. Above our energy bank is our deck and waste. Shroud players will also have a singularity, and we'll discuss what a singularity is in the next video. Here we see our opponent's deck and waste, and then in the middle is the end turn button and the turn clock at the center of it. Before we watch this hand, let's talk about turn number 1 really quick. First is the Mulligan phase. You're going to draw 5 random cards, and then you're given the opportunity to discard anywhere from 0 to 5 of those cards. Following that, you will redraw back up to 5. So if you've discarded 3 of your initial 5, then you'll draw 3 more cards and be back up to 5 for your first turn. Then the client will randomly choose a player to go first. Going first means that you do not draw a card at the beginning of your very first turn. However, this is the only time that happens, and the player that is going second will still draw a card at the beginning of their first turn. Paragons, in addition to being playable units, also each have a unique passive ability that is in play for the entire game. The deck that we are watching is playing Brand, and Brand's passive ability is that anytime a unit is banished, that means it is sent to the singularity. They are able to look at their top card of their deck and then decide if they want to keep it on top or move it to the bottom of the deck. They start off by drawing a card at the beginning of their turn, and this player is going to choose to play a card called Life Siphon first. Life Siphon is an effect that costs 1 energy, and it allows you to deal 1 damage to any target unit, and if that's enough damage to destroy the unit, it gets banished instead. Remember, banish means sent to the singularity. That's important to note because Brand's ability is going to be triggered as well as the ability of the Singularity Steward. Let's take a look. He targets the Merc Gunslinger. He sees the Power Instructor as the next card. He chooses to put it on bottom. And then that triggers the ability of the Singularity Steward, which is that anytime a unit is banished, it gets +1/+1. So it gets buffed up to a 3/3 unit now. Next, the player is going to choose a card to bank. This gives him an additional energy right away. Then they're going to play the Mercenary Gunslinger. Mercenary Gunslinger has a muster ability, which means that its ability is triggered as soon as it is played. That ability is to deal 1 damage to any target. Shroud player is going to choose the Cathari clone and destroy that. Now they're going to finish their turn off by attacking and dealing 3 damage. They click the end turn button and draw another card. This will go on until one player is reduced to 0 health and they lose the game. And typically I find that matches of Parallel take about 10 to 15 minutes. Depends on the type of decks that are chosen and how they're chosen to be played. I typically try to go fast with a Markolian deck or a Cathari deck, but Shroud decks, Earthen decks tend to be really slow, and Augencore decks can really go any direction.